It's a bumper one, because we've got control and then actual tasting things and stuff. So, for years, I have known what is known as Quavers. Now I've got to try and work out how to get into this bag, because I've never dealt with these before in this fashion. Oh, there we go. So it's sort of like the tear and share bags for their standard crisps, I guess. It's that sort of like pull apart the seal to get inside. So these are smaller than the sort of packs that you would get sort of in a multi box, I guess, because that's supposed to be for retail sales, so they are slightly bigger. So they are a little smaller in the sharing bags. But these are Quavers, so it specifies cheese on them, except most people have only known them as being cheese. Back in the day, they had multiple flavours, but these corn snacks have just been cheese. Bottoms up. The thing that's nice about them is the corn, you know, the corn snack. Oh, it is potato. I always thought it was corn because it just looks weird. The problem I always had in the long term was the actual cheese flavour, which I'm still getting to this day. Normally when you have something like a cheese and onion crisp or potato chip, however you want to describe it, it tastes like a natural sort of cheddar or a red Leicester. For the Quavers, it just feels like it's processed. Similar to, I hate to talk negative on my American friends, but whatever the flavour is of American cheese, it doesn't, to me, taste like proper cheese. It tastes processed. It's not got that same sort of like appealing flavour. You know, it's something you deal with, sort of thing. Thankfully, for a limited time, the old flavours are returning. So first up, salt and vinegar Quavers. It's interesting, you know, as I say, these are, I'll have to look at the history of Quavers, because I've only known them as, you know, cheese flavour. So yeah, so originally they were cheese and smoky bacon, but they had beef, sweet and sour prawn cocktail and ketchup. Then they had salt and vinegar in the early 90s, which I really don't remember. Tangy tomato in 96, and then relaunched they had multiple relaunches. The first introducing prawn cocktail, replacing tangy tomato, and then a new cheese flavour, streaky bacon, all sorts of various flavours, but I just remember the cheese ones, you know, and that was it. The prawn cocktail and salt and vinegar I don't remember at all. Probably because I was having regular packs of crisps rather than these. However, we now can see what it's like. So this is the well, originally the oldest of the two, because this debuted in about '93 and is back. Oh, that's salt and vinegar. I'm wondering whether these are going to be somewhat similar in salt and vinegar to the French fry flavours, which they have sort of, they haven't fully phased out the salt and vinegar ones, but they aren't as easy to get as compared to the ready salted and I think the cheese and onion. But it has the sort of smell of, it has the sort of smell of the French fries, which makes sense because they're a potato snack as well, rather than, you know, they're sort of, I guess, processed in the same way that the Wotsits and the Frazzles are, but as corn snacks. So there it is. It's a bit of a sharper vinegar than you get with a normal salt and vinegar. I'm trying to see if they have the same feature that the French fries had. It was always a thing that I tried to do, and that you'd leave it on your tongue for a number of seconds and it would sort of crackle, because obviously the layer of the flavouring would react with your tongue because of the bitterness of the vinegar. So to some extent, you still get the tingle there. Well, I will say these seem to be smaller and not as chunky as the Quavers are. Or maybe I'm misimagining, because that just seems to be... Quavers used to look a little different to that, I thought. I mean, some of the early ones, I mean, yeah, that's more a typical one. Maybe it's the size of the bags. And so now, the other popular demand one, as I referenced, the Prawn Cocktail. This should be good. I'm normally a fan of Prawn Cocktail, well, crisps, however you want to describe it. So it'll be interesting to see how these are in terms of flavour. I thought these were older, because when I saw the advertisements in the UK with Pat Sharp, I was just thinking 80s stuff. I wasn't sure that, I wasn't aware that they were actually just referencing the 90s and TV shows like Funhouse and whatever. Ooh, it's certainly a prawn cocktail smell, but it's like the off-brand prawn cocktail. But then again, the cheese smells and tastes off-brand. The salt and vinegar smells off-brand, but tastes just like a dip. Maybe it's not a malt vinegar. Well, sorry, maybe it's not like a fancier vinegar. It's just like a generic sort of malt. So it's got a different consistency to it. So now, let's see how the prawn cocktail does. That's pretty good. That's somewhat understated, actually. The flavour is there. But you sort of have to move it around your mouth in order to get the full flavour. Whoa, that's too many. That's... They're pretty good. I will give them that. A very interesting range, though, I will say. It's nice to see an alternative. At the minute, these special edition Quavers are a little pricier, which is a bit of a disappointment. You know, the regular Quavers are around sort of all year, so I'm wondering how long the two flavors will hang around. But now, of course, we have to do what I usually do. We take one of the cheesy ones. We take one of the salt and vinegar ones. And one of the prawn cocktail ones. And we put them all in together and regret it. That says a lot. To be fair, it makes sense because the salt and vinegar, although it's sharp, is... Well, that's it. Yeah, actually, that's a surprise. Hang on. I'm going to have to do it again. Because on that first one, the cheese overpowered everything. So I'm going to try and go for a larger salt and vinegar. Try and get some that are sort of around about the same size as each other. And see how it... There we go, that's roughly... That's a bit better. I can't remember which is which. But there's the three. I'll fan them out like a pack of playing cards. Is the cheese that strong? It overpowers all of them. To some extent, yes. There was a bit of the salt and vinegar taste in that one. More so, as they were sort of more equal size. But the cheese is just like... So yeah. Quavers are another snack that you could have. For a party or something to snack on. Or whatever. I don't mind the cheese, but, you know, it's one that I wouldn't want to have very often. The newer, reintroduced flavours, the salt and vinegar and the prawn cocktail, slightly more so. Because they sort of taste, to some extent, authentic. Rather than the somewhat processy nature of the cheese. So, yes. There we go. New flavours tried. Tick. Check out all the other content here on the channel. You know, if you enjoyed this, give us a like, subscribe. There's a wide range of stuff on here. Owen bringing you Voices of Liberty content. And sip and snack sort of stuff. That's his wing, whereas I do the snack stash. Just so that they're separate, I guess, now. AJ has verses and movie reviews of all the latest releases and everything. The awards content, yes. As we build towards the end of April and the Oscars ceremony, we get closer and closer to it. That's there for your delectation. along with a whole heap of other stuff that shows up. You never know. You have to subscribe to know what shows up on a semi-daily basis, depending how the backlog's going and everything. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video thing. Wait, there's another. Oh, it's a cheese one!